All right. Hey guys, let me get rid of this. So I'm playing with new toys. Y'all know how I do sometimes. Let me close that. All right. So first of all, welcome. My name is Lysandra Everett. I am the Home Biz Tax Lady. And if you are watching this on the recording, make sure you hashtag replay. Okay, boom, there we go. I'm telling y'all, I'm over here messing with stuff. I'm super excited though. Okay. So let me make sure I've got my technology working. I've already got sound. All right. so um, so just so y'all know, because y'all know my regular viewers, you know how I do, right? So every now and again, I get a new toy and I got to go, test out my new toys. So I got Zoom, right? So that I can broadcast live on Facebook. And it'll be great because then I'll be able to show my screen and stuff when I do future broadcasts and everything. I can still go live from my desktop, but this is a way for me to be able to share a screen with you and just do all sorts of other fun stuff. Okay. So now that I know that's working, let me get this shared out and then we will get down with the get down. All right. Share this out in a few of my favorite places. Now, what's going to be odd for me is that I gotta make sure that I keep my phone up so I can see any questions or comments and stuff. But that's okay. That is a small price to pay. And then but I have, I already liked Zoom. Now I love this stuff. So yeah, Zoom is boss. Zoom is absolutely boss. Okay. I actually tried this out last night. I did a webinar for my networking community, and this was absolutely awesome then too. So it's just great. All right. Enough rambling. So first, let me welcome you to the show. My name is Lysandra Everett. I am the Home Biz Tax Lady. I help home business owners win the tax game by helping you keep more of the money that you earn and paying less to Uncle Sam in taxes. I am here Monday through Friday, 9 o'clock-ish. And when you tune in my show, you're going to hear about various tax topics that are important to the home business community. But I also answer, random questions too, because, taxes aren't just about home business. There's about personal taxes too. Okay. So, hey, Arvella. All right. So the question I got today was about having an adult dependent, maybe your child, that is still living in your house, but now runs a business. And so the question is, can that dependent still claim tax deductions? Okay. So this is a good one. I actually had to think about this one a little bit. And the sticking point is that even though your child is living in your home, they're not children anymore. Once your child reaches the age of 18, they're not children anymore in that respect of they're considered an adult. So if you've got unless you're paying, they're still in college and whatnot, okay? So otherwise, but if you've got an adult child that's in their 20s, graduated from college and all of that, then this person is an adult. And so they're living in your house and they're running a business. So what kind of business deductions can they claim? Well, so that's how I had to think about this. Like, okay, you now have an adult living in your house that can no longer really be claimed as a dependent per se. They can be claimed as a qualifying relative, but then the sticking point is, am I paying more than 51% of their upkeep? Meaning, am I paying more than 51% of their living expenses, food, car insurance, car payments, all of that stuff. So that is the first thing on the dependency part. Are you paying more than 51% of what it takes to care for them? If you're not, then they can't be your dependent, okay? Even if they're living in your house. Now, so they're owning a business though. So what kind of deductions can they claim? Well, they can still claim things like, if they're paying for their cell phone. But what the main thing that you have to keep in mind is whose name is on the stuff. right? So if mom and dad are paying for cell phones, and mom and dad is paying for the internet, and mom and dad is paying for all this stuff, and it's in mom and dad's name, then really the only way that anybody can deduct anything is if you're charging this dependent rent, right? If you're charging them rent. So let's look at let's get real world stuff, right? Because I like to give examples so people can definitely know how this works in real life. All right, so let's say that my son is 24 years old, graduated from college, still living at home, and he decides to start a drop shipping business. Okay, so he's living in my house, he's using my internet and all that stuff. Okay, great. But now the way you have to think is, if this was not my child, but a strange person that is living in my home, when I say strange person, like you rented your house out to someone, then what would that look like? So yeah, so then you would be charging them rent. Okay, now that person that is living in your house would have to pay rent. They'd have to pay rent, they'd have to pay utilities, and they'd have to pay all of that stuff, right? Now, you being the landlord, that would be counted as rental income, which is okay because rental income is actually taxed differently than wage income. Total different aside. But so for that person to be able to claim, a portion of their rent, they're going to have a specific place where they conduct their business, their primary residence, right? Their primary place of business. And if that primary place of business just happens to be a 1-bedroom apartment, right, they have to have a specific space dedicated to running the business. Now, if they're paying, rent to live there, if they're paying money towards the utilities and, internet and all of that stuff, there needs to be a contract, right? There needs to be a lease, because this is what you would do for a person that you don't know that's coming to live in your home. You would have a lease, you would have, terms of the lease, how much they got to pay, when they got to pay it, all of that stuff. So when you're talking about, having this person living in your home that is running a business, and again, you can't think of them like your kid anymore. All right, you just can't. We grown people now, right? So so then they can deduct a portion of the part that they have to pay. But they can't go and deduct a portion of everything, because they don't own the home, they don't own the property, right? They pay for what they rent. It's just like in an apartment building, you don't own the whole building, you rent a specific part of the space, and you can write off a part of the space that you use for your business. You write off, and then all the regular deductions apply, right? We're talking about gas and electric, mileage, if there's mileage involved, just regular, there's a laundry list, advertising, and the other things that are a part of the business. If, whatever fees are incurred in running the business, if they've got to go get, a business license or any of that stuff, all of those types of fees are deductible. But if they're actually earning enough and paying more than 51% of their upkeep, then you can't claim them as a dependent. They're no longer a dependent, and I think that's a sticking point. But in that case, that if you do still claim them as a dependent, okay, and they can still have a filing requirement, that box that says, can someone else claim you as a dependent, then the answer is they need to mark that yes, and mom and dad is still claiming them. So I hope that it can get a little funky, right? Because and the thing that I had to catch myself is because there are specific rules for minor child business owners, but we're not talking about a minor anymore. We're talking about an adult that's graduated from college, or and really you're not my baby anymore. Right? So that's how you have to look at that. You really have to look at that like, okay, if this was someone who applied to live in, for a room that I'm renting in my home, how would I treat that person? And that's what you would do. You would, you would have the lease, you would have how much was to be paid, when to be paid, and then they would have to pay you. They would need to write you a check, money order, whatever. You need to have all of that paper trail. Right? All of that needs to be documented, because, if they're claiming expenses, even a tiny portion of home office expenses, they still got to have that documentation that states that, yeah, I'm actually leasing this space from this family. They just happen to be my family, right? But but again, if you're still going to claim that dependent, then when they file their taxes, they have a filing requirement. And if they own a business and they earn more than $400, they have a requirement for self-employment tax. And if they earn more than $600 from like a third-party type system, they're going to get a 1099, gotta file. Okay, so they're going to have a filing requirement, but that part where it says, can someone else claim you as a dependent, it needs to be marked yes. Okay, but listen, this is just me answering a question. This is one of those things where, a tax professional or CPA needs to sit down and look at the entire big picture of it all, right? Because I can sit here and answer a question there, but there could be all sorts of different other variables. So even though I answer your questions, I always encourage you and, to tell you, you need to sit down with a tax professional to look at the whole big picture to see what's going to be best for you and your family. Okay. That's I will always say that, because I can sit here and answer a random question, but there could be something going on that I don't know about that might change the whole landscape of of the question. So yeah, so that's it, you guys. So yeah, we got kids that are out there making it happen as entrepreneurs. You got, adult kids that are graduating from college and are coming back home, right? Because they got this fabulous piece of paper and can do nothing with it just yet. So they're going to be back home, right? So the question is then, what are they going to be doing? And even if, okay, let me also say this, even if, you have a child living at home, it goes out to get a job. All right. And if they're still living at home and you're still claiming them, still, you got to mark that someone else can claim me as a dependent. That's what they have to do. Because if you, try to, claim them both, somebody's tax return is going to get kicked back, and it might be that they have a filing requirement for them to file single and, for mom and dad to file single, or married filing joint, forgot mom and dad, and claiming no dependents. So, yeah. And with the tax reform coming up, if they get that stuff passed, a whole bunch of this stuff is just going to be erased. I'm going to have a whole new year's worth of tax stuff to talk about if this tax reform goes through, y'all. All right. So I really hope that helps you out, you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you hit, make sure you subscribe to my live notifications. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. And leave a comment if you got some value, and share this out with somebody that might need some help, okay? So thanks a lot, you guys. I'll see y'all next time. I'm digging my new toy, though. I'm going to tell you that right now. All right, have a great day, guys.